Welcome to the CNH Tuesday podcast.
I was going to do that then.
Oh, Jen, sorry.
That's so rude. Anyway,
as usual.
we are going to be a bit off the beaten track today. Wendy's come in and had a vent actually about a comment that's been made about podcasting and who you have to be someone to do a podcast. So we're just going to explore
who qualifies as a someone.
Who does qualify as someone, and what pressures do we put on ourselves to be a someone? Because I think that can relate to parenting, can relate to social media, can relate to so many different facets, your job, your role, if you're married, if you're not married. So what classes as someone?
Who is someone?
Well, you're not, apparently.
Yeah, I'm apparently not someone.
So you're
someone who can do a podcast. Doesn't it take us someone to do a podcast?
And how does that make you feel? Because basically you're being told you're not a someone.
Well, my first question was, who's a someone? Like, who are we talking about? Are we talking about you have to be a celebrity, or do you have to have qualifications to be a someone? I mean, I'm quite baffled. I thought I was someone. I truly do believe I am someone. You know, I've done a lot of work to be my someone as well. Let me tell you, I'm not just anyone. I'm a someone.
But we're all someone to some people, aren't we? And it's all how you're perceived. Like I know that I'm a mum to Vinny and Chloe. I know I'm a now fiance to Tony. I know that I am my mum's daughter. So I'm always someone to somebody. But what class is someone to say that we're or whoever's not good enough, basically?
That's basically what that was. That was a mask to say that they didn't think I was what they thought what qualifies for someone that should think they should be on a podcast, or that I'm somebody that would think I could be on a podcast. It was quite I don't know where that come from.
So have they got podcast experience and they're a podcaster, the people that cast
Not that I'm aware of.
So
not even a social media influencer.
So
they're just a person themselves.
They're just someone.
So they're just someone.
Okay. This is really ironic that somebody who doesn't do any of these things feels the need to put you down.
Or feels they have the right to put me down, considering they've not done anything extraordinarily qualifying to even pass that opinion.
Sorry, it just really makes me laugh how others can feel that they can go around and judge. And I feel like we have covered some really explicit, really hard-hitting things in our podcast: sexual abuse, fears, what words do to other people, and for that to be used against anybody, myself, you, or actually anybody, I mean, what's going on for that person to feel the need to dampen someone else's life? For me, I think, why would you want to try and dampen someone else's life? We're just trying to shine in our own way. It's not going to be for everybody. We're not perfect. We're not going to portray to be perfect in any shape or form. But that someone's intently tried to dampen the light.
Or just, I don't know, because it's like was having the exploration of what standpoint could that come from? What does that, like you said, what does that say about them? Where are they at in order to even say those things, let alone project those things to somebody that they know is going to come straight back and actually feed that back to me? That was, it made me laugh out loud when I first heard it, because I just thought, oh, Christ, feedback's better than no feedback, right? Yeah. And also, I've done a lot of work on myself, and this person definitely doesn't qualify to challenge me against myself.
And I think it would be different if they came and challenged you, but it's not.
Or even said to me, like, oh my God, like, aren't you worried that you really aren't like anybody famous, or you have no social media presence? Or do you think you're qualified to have these conversations, or aren't you scared to have these conversations and put yourself out there?
Yeah, it's interesting what you said about social media presence, because it seems like there's a lot of trolls who are happy to say these things sitting behind a screen, or they're happy to say those things in a pub, but yet won't have those open conversations and do that open challenging.
That's what I find, like, the flip side of the fact that, first of all, I found it funny because I've done a ton of work on myself, and actually you're not going to get to me through that. That's not where you're going to get to me. But you know, when you come to me and say to me in person, fucking hell, I would be scared. What, like, aren't you worried about what people say about you, or aren't you worried about what people are going to do about it, or what what their feedback's going to be, or the judgment, and in actual fact, yes, but that's one of the whole reasons that I decided to do this. Why can't anybody just do it? Why have you got to have, like, what is it that holds you back? If I was honest with you, Lucy, if I didn't do this because we weren't having such good sessions, just having our conversations and having the things and talking about the things and exploring the topics that we were, I do think we've got something to say. I do think we've got people to help. It's bigger than that. And also, I think it's, if somebody sees somebody having the guts to try, regardless of what that looks like, at least they're taking that leap. At least they're taking action on something that they progressively want to become. People don't just become overnight success. People don't just become overnight sensations. You listen to anybody who's got anything to show in that, like, level of, I'm not talking about just celebrities, social influencers, people that have got up the hierarchy in their job. It took years. It took years. It took hard work. It took you doing consistent things behind closed doors that no one knows about. The more you keep it to yourself, the more successful you will get. But ultimately, you have to start.
Yeah, you do have to start. And I love a comfort zone challenge. When I was in Kenya on a charity trip, I was with a load of strangers. And one of the girls, Sam, who I just love, she set comfort zone challenges for everybody, like almost every day. And they were hilarious, some of them, but there is no growth inside your comfort zone. You just stay. You just are. There's nothing going on. Whereas as soon as you push that comfort zone, it can just have such a massive impact. And I think that's even when, with the kids, I think Vinny's had a fear for heights predominantly for a long, long time. And he went to PGL and he started overcoming the fear of heights. So we kept up the momentum and went to climb the O2. And he just shines a little bit brighter. Not because he can tell everyone that he's not scared of heights anymore, but it's that inner worth, that inner confidence that just shines through now.
But also learning to do hard things when you really don't have that nervous system set to do that. I've just done something similar this weekend. My girls held me massively accountable. I did post this over social media. So I am a social media influencer, FYI, because my girls, I had a 10k run, Soccer 10k run in London with my running club trainer on the hill. Absolutely love my tribe. They are very much my people. And like, when you look at me and everything that a runner's not, I'm large. I'm not larger than all of them. I don't run as fast as them. I don't get out as much as them because I've decided to do what I've decided to do and support my grandchildren in this moment in their life. So I don't get to do as much as I could. I didn't want to go. I knew it was going to be hard. I didn't really feel like doing it because we're going through some things at home right now. I hadn't trained. I'm stressed. And I really wasn't feeling it. And my girl's like, what, you? You are? You've told him you're doing it. You've paid for it. You've bought, like, no, we are. We'll come. This is my 10 and my 11 and 12-year-old. This is. We'll come. We'll come and support you. Like, we're coming. You're going. And when I got there, I made it abundantly clear at the train station I didn't have it in me to do it. Didn't matter. My team were like, you're here. That's it. You're here. That's what that looks like. Emma, who's obviously her running club, at the top, she never left my side. She got me for literally dragged me round, no matter what that looked like. She's like, on a good day, Wendy, this would be you for somebody else. Today, this is your turn. Didn't matter how messy or how that looked. They knew I would be so pissed off at myself if I didn't achieve it. And they all were like cheering me on. They were all like, you got through it. You know, we got to the end, I burst into tears because I didn't even think it was possible. And that is the most flat I've ever felt in my life. I even owned it out loud to the team that for the first time in my life, I actually feel emotionally and mentally challenged. I don't normally feel the things I'm feeling and going through. It's new ground for me. Didn't really think I could push through. Learned I could push through. It didn't matter what that looked like. I still did it. I did it because I wanted them to know that I could, the girls.
Yeah.
They made me accountable. But also the thing is that actually is who I am. On a good day, that's who I am for somebody else. That kindness, that go-getting, that listen, I'm right here. I'm not worried about how that looks. Doesn't matter how long this takes. Doesn't matter how we get to that point. I'm here for that shit.
Yeah.
And I pushed through. That was me. That was my turn. I've run half marathons this year, Lucy. Couldn't even run to the end of the road this weekend without having to talk myself through it, challenge myself through it. But they are such beautiful people. They show up for me time and time again. They are my lifeline when they don't even know they're my lifeline, that run club. The girls are the same. So they don't give a fuck what I look like. Fat, thin, hair washed, hair not washed, face on, face off. They don't care. They don't care. You know? She ran by their side, had the time of her life, no matter what that looked like for her, could have done that in a blink of an eye, because that's who she is as a runner. They all took the fact that she wasn't there, but along them, around them, they didn't care. They all put themselves aside for me that day, because that's what that looked like.
How powerful is that to be a part of?
So I said to her, you'd have when somebody runs a club that knows what needs to be done and shows up for that person no matter what that looks like, that is that not somebody? The whole team did the same thing without even realising that they'd done that. The girls done that because they were just like, no, we're not letting you do this, you're not getting off hook. And my face in front of all the photos on the way there looks like a smacked backside because I was shitting myself.
Yeah.
And I'll own that.
Yeah.
And I'll own that. And I'm like, how am I going to do this? What's that going to look like to them girls? They're going to be cheering me on. What if I'm walking? What if I fell in front of them? And then I thought, what the fuck if you fell in front of them, Wendy? Off you go.
Yeah.
They've come, you've come, we're here. Let's just push through. And I'm telling you now, when I got to the end of that run, that mindset change was phenomenal. That I had nothing left, Lucy. It was like someone had nicked my batteries. I stood and I cried and cried and cried because it just needed to come out. And then I chilled, then I ate food, then I slept, and then I just got on with life. But it's amazing how I don't feel like I can't, because when I was at the worst point that I couldn't, I challenged it, and now all that background noise, even on that run, what are you doing? Look at the fucking state of you. They're taking photos, they're going to look great. Why are you walking? They're running. You used to be able to run faster than that. You would not believe the background noise that was running through my brain. Come on, you know you can do this. Then I'll switch up a gear and you're like, this is powerful. You want to be the change, you've got to be the change. Let's get, you have no idea the noise for the whole fucking run that went through my brain. Honestly, I was like, I was schizophrenic. Put it mildly, I'm not mocking schizophrenic. What I'm saying is, it was noise. It was loud in that brain.
So when you finished, you said that you cried and you feel like you need to come out. What was coming out?
Sadness, for the situation we're in at home. Sadness for me that I put a lot of work into getting where I was, and I've chosen to actively let it go for something bigger than me, which is my grandkids, and I don't regret. But I'm still sad for that part of me that had to fight so hard to get to be her.
Mm.
And it's not that I feel she's gone. I talk about this a lot, about the fact that I look for her, that badass version of me that fights for absolutely everything. She's so overextended fighting battles that I can't even begin to talk about some days because she's needed elsewhere right now.
Well, she's just tired.
And I am knackered, I'm not going to lie. But not knackered from fighting, it's because you are in so many pots at once that I choose to be in those pots because fundamentally, in here, I know that's where I need to be.
Yeah.
In here, I know that's where to be. But in that little person that's in there that's always like, don't forget me. Because you know what it's like. That voice is quite loud. She's disappointed. But I now know from obviously pushing through, she now understands that she's still there. She's just not there in her full capacity right now. You understand me? I'm still there. I'm still me. It will come back in a snapshot. I know all the science and all the stuff the biotech stuff that you need to know. It's gone nowhere. But you know, that's purely the one thing I have for me. And I'm having to be flexible with that right now. Be flexible. And I want to really accentuate that word flexible. I'm having to be flexible and to honour other choices that will impact me far worse if I don't do them than let this go. And that's what got me thinking to this conversation today about the someone. I am still her. That someone, it's that someone's me for me. That's who I am. That's what little I have for me because
it's your self-care.
It's my self-care. And we all know that I go, yeah, that's me. Boxer, put her in the, you can wait. I know you can wait. But I only know I can wait because I know I'm not letting it go. I still kind of let it simmer enough to just know that I need to be in these other places for now. But also grateful. I cried more in gratitude for the fact that you spend so much time thinking that you don't have a someone, that you aren't someone. And those people owe me nothing. I run with them every Tuesday. They know I love them. I tell them all the time. But I am someone because they literally all went. They never stopped. From the second we got on that train station before that run to afterwards, they've never stopped. They've never stopped.
So you were validated?
Oh, massively. By people that didn't need to. I know.
And I wonder, does that highlight where you're not validated?
Massively. Massively, yeah. Vastly. And why I allow myself not to. By the people that shouldn't do it the most, funnily enough.
Always normally is, isn't it? And I think we can be stuck in these situations and they become the norm and then something else changes and you think, shit, what the hell have I been letting slide, really?
Yeah.
But life's busy. And I think everyone's a blessing or a lesson.
Yeah,
And sometimes they can start as lessons and become blessings. Sometimes they can skip and slide, and sometimes, that needs to end.
Yeah, and it's, I've got a photo of that moment of her hugging me on that finish line, and my face, I'm crying. You can see I'm sobbing at that point, and that photo for me, it just motivates me. It just empowers me, and it will be something I will never forget, because when I needed people the most, I was fortunate enough not to just have one. I had a whole fucking team show up. We're here, right here. Whatever that looks like, we're right here. Whatever you need, we're right here. And it comes from the most surprising of places, doesn't it, sometimes? It catches you off guard.
Yeah.
Because it comes, and the same was like, I couldn't go to work that evening. I wasn't feeling great afterwards. And the same with like, who I work for was like, you're a machine. There you have no shame in telling me that today's not the day. She said, I've got this. I'll do this.
Yeah.
Not a breath. Not a breath. I've got this. I've watched what you've done. I've watched what you've been through. I've watched what you're doing with. I've got this. Let me take it off you.
I wonder if that's teaching your lesson, just listening to your story, because I hadn't heard this before now. I wonder if your lesson is that it's okay to ask for help.
Maybe.
Because we don't ask for help. Both of us have admitted that quite openly on the podcast. And actually, it's asking for help in the right places sometimes, because I think...
Do you know what else? I don't think anyone had ever heard me say the words I can't. I don't think I've ever let them words stroll out of my mouth. And I was so worried. Again, the someone, I love these conversations. Triggers are always my conversations. That you know what version of you are in these settings, right? These versions we talk about.
How much they let us see. I'm just going to sort this door out.
Okay.
Not over.
There's...
This is where I'm DIY myself.
DIY myself.
There we go. Just as is.
Lucy, I've got a hair driving me mad on the back of me. You just get it off. I don't know where it is. I can just feel it tickling the shit out of me.
Cut this bit out.
What? Here. What's that? Is there a hair stuck to me somewhere?
No.
Watch it. Someone's touching me then. Listen.
Touching me!
Yeah, like I say, I talk a lot about the versions. You talk about versions of yourself. Who you are to me is what you get. Yeah. And you know what? They've always been. There's such a beautiful group of people. And I've always been able to just be who I am. I don't even think about not being my real self with them, whatever that is, because they're such a good group, and we are more than just a running group. It was, I didn't even feel I needed to hide it. Not that my face can hide fuck all, and it's the same with because the kids were there, and obviously Paul was there, and I just owned it, and he's like, listen, they were just like, you're here, you've done it, let's go. You'll be so... They knew the consequences of me not... They knew the consequences for me would be so severe on me personally that they were not willing to allow me to even have that as an option.
So, almost self-sabotage.
Yeah.
I think that also shows how important it is to provide safe spaces.
Yeah.
Because when you say about different versions, I see it as different layers, so I'll let people see different layers of who I am. But I think enabling people to feel safe in their emotions, good and bad, because I think if they're good, let's celebrate the good, let's cheer them on. If they're bad, let's look at why, let's, help them find their solution, because my solution and your solution might be completely different. But I think we are fundamentally lacking a lot of those safe places. I know that I've had a conversation this week where my partner came home after listening to the sexual abuse podcast, really concerned about how I would deal with judgment, and if somebody used what I said in my podcast in a negative light. And I can almost tell, I could tell you the name of the person that I think is going to do that already.
Right.
I'm going to guess that's probably something that's already been said, but but I'm not sure. And I don't really...
To him or in general?
In general, yes, 100%.
Okay.
To him, potentially, I haven't asked and I'm not interested. But it's interesting how you know that people are going to use those things, and that just says a lot about them. And he's like, how are you going to deal with it? I said, I'm going to be really honest with you, and I'll be honest with you guys. If someone comes to me and uses them in a spiteful, nasty way, I will out you. I will say your name on a podcast. I will happily post it on social media, because if you're using sexual abuse as a weapon to beat somebody with, you're just as bad as the people that are doing it. And I have no qualms, and it might be childlike, but actually there's a lack of accountability around, and it's all right for you to go and say this, and it's all right for you to go and say that. And I know, because I was one of those people. I've said, though, not about sexual abuse, but I have spoken my judgments. I know a lady that was having an affair. She said, oh, but I heard you called me a cunt. I said, yeah, I did. I said, yeah, that was me. I did do that because I feel that everybody knowing you're in another relationship and that poor wife is sitting at home is really cunty behaviour. I have said that, yeah, I know my stuff, and I wasn't that confident before about owning my stuff. But I think there is a lack of accountability, and I think these communities and what's going on needs to have these open conversations, because the reality is we're all hurting each other. Whether it be through sleeping with someone else's missus, sleeping with someone else's husband, slagging people off, putting people down, not cheering people on. That's going on, and I don't think it's just here. I think it's like the ripple is so fast and wide. And when I look even social media, I look for Instagram and I'll look at some comments and I think, what makes you feel that you want to put someone else down and dim their light?
Have you seen, though, that some of the people on this new Instagram trend is that when they're digging people, these comments, they're screenshotting them and they're posting them with their dirty remarks to out them? What a not fabulous, but the ones that are really bad. I mean, everyone, to me, feedback's access. You ain't got information to yourself. When it's constructive.
100%.
But even this negative one that was said to somebody that I work with that they knew would get back to me, it has really sent me down a rabbit hole to like, are you someone? Are you someone? And then it wasn't just someone to somebody else, it was, are you someone to you? Like to yourself? Do you know where I'm coming from? And actually, like you were saying, people who don't feel someone, people who don't feel there are someone, it's because all they're ever doing is watching. They're never doing the doing.
They're not participating.
And if they are, it's for all the wrong reasons.
There's a lot of them about. There are so many of those.
It's for other connotations, it's for other components.
Status, to look good. I am a great person because I do X, Y, and Z.
Or authenticity. Christ, good or bad, hell or high water, whatever state I'm in, it gets done. Because, and I know that sounds, because look, she's very glam and I'm like, I've rocked up. I've got out of bed and brushed my teeth, wearing my own pants today as well. But it's one of them that I don't have that polished effect, not in any area. And I've been back and forth over this since this comment, and that's not who I am. Why would I even pretend to be that?
But that's not also real, is it? Like I put a bit of mascara on and a bit of makeup today, but that's not who I am.
No.
This is who I am. My soul, my heart, my feelings.
Yeah, but also you do like to look nice. And you always look, and it's not, I'm not saying I don't look nice, I'm just saying our versions of how we are express who we are. Because we're that someone. We're that someone. This whole, who are you? This someone. Can you be someone? Like, should you be someone? Why should you just be the someone that you are?
Yeah, and look at why you do things. Why, and my emphasis to people today is probably question yourself. Like, why do you feel the need to say that? Is that said out of love? Is that said out of a good place? And especially when it's people that are close.
And how is that going to fall?
Majorly.
Land on someone, you know?
How is that going to impact the day? And I think, you know, when we spoke to Herbie last week, and he's so honest and open about how he feels and stuff that's going on for him, and how men don't do that. Like, this is another thing, and I've totally gone off a tangent. Banter. Like, when does it go from banter to downright absolute horrible? Because there's a very fine line. And I can see, I have witnessed people beating themselves up through banter. And I think if you can't change it, so like one of the things I keep thinking of was a video I saw on TikTok. If you can't change it within 3 seconds or 5 minutes, I can't remember what things you get, don't say it. So if you're going to say to someone, you're fat, well, they can't change that. In 5 minutes, you can't say that. But, you know, there's other things you could say to someone that they could change, or you're being nasty. That's a good thing to say because they can address that straight away. If it's not something you can change instantly, you shouldn't really say it. And I really take that forward in life. Like, should I say that? And I've started not saying things and wording it differently. My friend's got quite a weight problem at the moment, so I'm like, well, let's try this, let's try that. Not you need to do. Not come on, you know you need to eat less, move more. Well, that's not working for her. But it's like, oh, should we go for a walk? Should we just walk to Tesco's then? Rather than you need to,
Small,
need to.
Successful changes.
Achievable.
Yeah.
Because she's beaten herself up enough. She doesn't need
anyone else reinforcing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe she should look at her somewhere.
Yeah. And I think sometimes someone defines us.
Yeah, my girls definitely did. Yeah. My girls definitely did. It was instant. No, that's not who you are. They knew exactly who I was. They knew what sort of someone I was immediately. We know where this will go. Not a chance.
Yeah.
You know?
We're not dealing with backlash to that.
They got up at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
They got up at 6 a.m. on a weekend, took time out their own time, and they cheered. Don't get me wrong, they had an ulterior motive. They fleeced him for stuff at the shop that they wanted to go to. But the point was, they fundamentally got up. Come on, let's go. They showed up. They got to the train station. They ran round making sure I had everything. They knew. They walked miles to even find a toilet because I was literally on some rough before it even started. And they're like, come on, They did not get off me. Come on. They were like cheerleaders. And just like, you know, they didn't even need to stop and think who I was. They knew who I was straight away.
And the importance.
And the importance, because of being that someone. They watched me be that someone. And it's funny how many people remark to me, no, because this would be you. This is you for everybody else. I didn't need to worry about who I was and whether I was good enough. They already knew. They already had the evidence. They'd already been around me long enough to know that was exactly who I was. And they knew that I'd show up, even though I couldn't do it. And they knew that it would get done. You know? And it's also the fact that they also did it and allowed me for it to look as messy and as disastrous and as time-consuming and as authentically as I was feeling. There was no hiding it. The professional photos show that.
What do you think you taught your kids that day? What do you think they observed from watching your struggle to you finishing?
What I'd like to think I'd shown them was that you can do hard things even when you think you can't, because I definitely had told them I thought I couldn't. I'd like to think that they understand that showing up is key to everything. Doesn't matter in that moment whether you think you can or you can't, you are or you're not someone who does those things or should do those things or are able to do those things. Just show up, just start. And I also think that they don't have to pretend to be anybody they're not.
And also, I think you've taught them how it's okay to ask for help. Well, I mean, you didn't ask for help, but it's okay to be helped.
I just told everyone, I just told everybody I was real from the start. I'm struggling. I'm not feeling this. Like, I told them why I wasn't feeling it.
But also that we all struggle. That's
and
another really important lesson.
We all cry, and they're like, why are you crying? Because I kept crying. They're like, why are you crying? And I know obviously from all my training and all my, like, the stuff that I've studied, that, you know, your muscles, your body, it holds and stores trauma.
Yeah.
I've had a turbulent few months. I know it was in there, I knew it needed to come out to make space for what's to come, that's imminent on us at the moment. I know that I needed to let it out because I do hold myself accountable. I have found things incredibly hard, even though I don't want to sometimes show that they're incredibly hard, because I think how you cope, they will cope, because like you say, my children are watching. It's important to me. We all know that my kids are the most important things to me. And also, but I wanted it to be real because I want them to understand that I do have times where I haven't got it figured out. I don't know what I'm doing. I do have to learn thinking on my feet fast, 90% of the time. I have to juggle a fucking lot, and I balance all those balls regardless, without dropping the bollocks of having to, you know. And obviously I did fall apart. I fell apart at the end, and then
it's right to drop the balls, isn't
it? I dropped it all. I cried my eyes out. I was a mess, but you know, I was a mess. I was grateful. I was appreciative. I valued everybody. I felt really loved. I felt like, oh my God, how many people have just shamed you? You haven't got no one. Why did you think you had no one?
Yeah.
You understand me?
And I think it also highlighted where those parts are missing.
Yeah, massively.
And I think, you know...
And the fact that no matter how much work I have done, that's still my fucking go-to. That's still my go-to. That's still so damn rooted in there that my first epic thing to do is to go, well, you're just going to have to get on with this, right? You know, well, I said to you before in our previous podcast, that I've learned to just do myself. Just do it yourself. You ain't got no one. This is going to have to be on you.
But that's been proved wrong.
Epic, like, on immense proportions this weekend, not just from my own little house tribe, but by people that just didn't need to, and then people where I work that, it's not that I didn't think they would. You're so busy
trying to survive
and get on and just get through, that you don't realise who's watching you, that thinks, actually, you're a fucking badass, when you're a powerhouse. She called me a fucking machine. Now I know what a machine means to me.
Yeah.
You know, and I just think, thanks for that. And it was like, no questions asked, I've got this, I'll do this.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah. And I think also that shows us, one, they're watching, but two, sometimes don't let people get to that stage. Maybe just say, look, do you know what, you look like you need a break. Why didn't you have a night off? Or just using work as an example. But I think we often view things and we think, oh, we won't say anything. But actually, that could be a real difference for that person, as it was for you. And maybe if someone had caught that sooner, it would have been easier. I think that was a lesson for you.
Or publicly. Like, I'm gonna be really real now. I don't really want to have this out there, but I'm gonna be really real. It was publicly. before thousands of people in the middle of London. The beautifulest course in the world, like the beautifulest, well documented, there's no escaping, right? In front of all the people that you are normally not that version of yourself to, my family included. It was documented by every photograph at every fucking turning point, every 10 yards. I've got the photos to prove it, all 148 of them.
Oh, beautiful! You laughing?
It's on my face. It's crying. I don't look how I want to look. I don't feel how I want to feel. I'm not doing how I want to do. It couldn't have been any more public if I fucking wanted it to be. But you know what? It is. And I haven't died from it. Another lesson of what I haven't died from. I'm going to start a podcast. I didn't die from this. No, I'm joking. But you know what I'm trying to say?
So I leave me. Just leave me. Everyone else does.
But what I'm saying is, it's amazing how much you think. It's amazing how much you don't do, because you're not that someone. You don't look like that someone. You don't sound like that someone. You don't act like that someone. You don't live like that someone. I'm literally none of those things. And I am here to fucking tell you, I've done them all this weekend. And I social media'd the shit out of it, and I don't even know how to do social media. And I've shared the photographs of Shane as well.
And I think that's only in our truth. And I think there's so many people that just are so caught up in being those someones and not being as good as someone else and someone else. And, and half of that's fake, half of that's probably AI generated, half of those smiles aren't real. And I think a lesson for us all, including myself, like what I put on social media, because I always put on a little, oh yeah, I'm doing this, and this is beautiful. And I posted on social media this weekend that I've engaged. Hooray! Congratulations to me!
I love that.
But an hour later, we had a row. And I thought, what the fuck should I post that? And it's like, obviously I wouldn't post that row, but actually he's very like, I think your personal life should stay very personal. And I think there's something nice in that, but there's also something in that people can't see about him. They won't see about me. They won't see about how you have to work in relationships. They don't see his vulnerability, whereas mine's like there and there. And I think that then makes you a person you're really not. It's the outside world, you're just a big ego.
You're not that someone.
You're not
that someone.
And that sticks. And I think, we are in a society where everything is, what car do you drive? What job do you do? What about how you feel? Where are you at? Where do you want to be? How can we help you get there?
Yeah. Which is what my drive are all about.
Yeah, and I'm blessed to have that. But I don't take that for granted. And I think there's so much pressure. And I look at Vinny's leaving school, and all these parents are rushing out and buying things and birthdays, and you've got to have this and you've got to have that, and then they're 17 and they've got to have a car. And where does all this suddenly come a thing? That at this age you have to have a £1,000 phone. When have we made that what our lives are about? When has that become parenting? Because for me, parenting is making sure they have life skills. And don't get me wrong, I've given my kids trips to Disneyland, and my 24-year-old, I did get a car, but where did it all become so money orientated and about how we look? And I think sometimes it's about how the parent looks.
Do you think your children are those versions?
No,
because I know mine aren't.
No, and we now do more memories. Memories are presents now.
Which we do too, and travel.
And it's not about materialistic things. There will be materials in there, but that's sort of gone out of our window. And Vinny wanted a gaming PC, and I got him a DJ decks because he loves music and he loves to sing. And even though he's got speech and language, and sometimes it will just come out the right way, that is he can express himself in there. He can dance. He can do other stuff. But I keep looking at these posts. Look what I've bought my child. Look what I've bought my child. Look what I've bought my child. And I just think, where are we? Why is that now a thing? Look what I can do for my child. That makes me someone.
But what does that make them?
Make it up for me. It looks like guilt.
No, but what does that make them children? Because in order
Entitled.
in order to be someone,
I think
you have to, like, in your entirety, you've got to be transparent. Like we were talking about back on the versions who, you know, people tell me something people don't know about you, Wendy. Well, people would never have known that version of me this weekend.
Yeah.
It's only because of who I was with that you allow yourself to be, you know, and it's giving yourself permission, but also it's like I've had to have a job young, I've had to go and learn the things myself, I've had to look after the stuff to then recycle, I've had to learn the skills to be able to feed my family. What I'm trying to say to you is the someone I am has been built from very small right the way up on a lot of these adventures where you're having to get out your comfort zone. You're not going to be capable, you're not going to have the skills, you're going to have to take the time to learn, you're going to have to look crap, get it wrong, be
and I think that's great, and I think I'm really appreciative that my kids haven't really had to do that, and I am grateful that I can give my kids these things. But what I think for me, what you've taught your kids this weekend, that we have emotions, that we break, that we can lean on people, that it can be hard, and we can get strict. That is parenting. Buying them the latest game, that's not parenting. And I think for me, I just wanted to flip it out and put it out there a little bit, because, you know, saying to kids, oh, do you know what, I can't afford that. Well, that's good, because kids have got to realise the value of money. Or showing your kids that real life emotion, that is not, I'm not saying I've fallen into bits in front of my kids, I won't lie, and last weekend I definitely did that to Chloe. But I think they are the lessons that we are sort of avoiding, and our kids are being unable to voice about opinions, they're unable to speak, some of them, about emotions. And even coming through the care system, it's more and more that people can't identify these emotions because they're never shown.
They can't put a name on them because they've never been allowed to experience them in their entirety.
Or be safe in experiencing them, or being shown. Like, there's no better lesson than being shown. Do you know what you've said to me, even your kids, like, that's really upset me. Or, how do you think that makes me feel when you say that? You know, questioning the narrative, you know, and I think I don't really know how we've got here, but that's sort of where. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely parenting is definitely coming up on the agenda, and I know, but it is, you know, and I just think that lesson that you have taught this weekend is a beautiful lesson that they will never forget, and I think that's something really powerful to take from that, and for others to learn that it's okay to show our kids that we are human. Because that's all we are, human, all of us. Yeah, and just that it's... And someone, we are all bloody someone. Someone. And you will always have a someone who will remind you what kind of a someone you are. Yeah, love that. Definitely. I think that's a good place to leave it. Yeah, definitely. So thank you all you someones watching, and have a great week, and we will see you next Tuesday.